this is DrumWise Meets. Today, I'm here with a drummer that has played with many, many artists because of his work with the Jools Holland Rhythm and Blues Orchestra. He's also the drummer for Squeeze, Gilson Lavis. Hi, Gilson.
Hello.
Right, let's get going. So the question that you'll have been asked a lot, so what equipment are you currently using? When I say currently, I mean, you know, when you can normally play.
Well, I'm a Cambridge drums in Dorset. Unbelievably good drums. Consists of a 22 bass, 12 by 8 rack, 14 by 16 and 16 by 16 floor toms. I'm a Zildjian in Dorset too, so Zildjian cymbals, mainly A's, because they seem to be musical, and I like their musicality, and also they're very consistent. K's are beautiful. I used to play K's for years, but the character changes from cymbal to cymbal, so I can really be quite confident with A's that if one doesn't, I can get a set of A's duplicated in Ireland or America or wherever I'm working, and they sound pretty well the same as the ones that's on the kit. I know what's coming. So that's why I tend to use A's. Lovely cymbals. I don't know what else to tell you, really. Yeah, I've got several Cambridge drum kits. I've been very fortunate they've looked after me. I've got to say, I will tell you this, because drummers out there might be interested. I never wanted to play them. I really did not want to play them I was for quite a few years, I was a DW in Dorset, really honoured to be a DW in Dorset too. I've worked with a few companies. I wasn't really an endorsee tart. I didn't sort of move around willy-nilly, I tend to stick with companies. And then when DW asked me to endorse their drums, I was flattered. It's good for the ego. And they supplied me with a beautiful kit, more than one actually, the Buddy Rich tribute kit. They only made them for a couple of years or a year. So I played that, and then they gave me a nice little jazz kit, and then another duplicate kit for the studio, which I remember Julian. I'm really happy with DW, wonderful kits. And then Cambridge Drums, Ian from Cambridge Drums contacted me and asked me to try out one of his kits, and I really didn't want to. I couldn't be bothered. Please don't. And I had to try and find a nice way of saying no, thank you, without sort of offending him. So I said, thank you for the offer. I'm honoured you want me to try your kits, but I'm really happy with DW, and that was that. And then a month later, he sent me another one saying, please, 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 please. Oh God! And I said, well, thank you very much, but I really like DW. I don't want to. Oh, and then he sent me another email offering me money. Please, look, I'll give you some money if you. Oh Lord, anyway, I didn't have the art to say no again. I didn't take any money. I've got to say, I didn't. I'm not. But I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you can supply a kit identical to the DW, I'll play it on the road for a week. I'll just slip it in, play it for a week, and then I'll tell you what I think. But I'm not going to change companies. I just love DW. Supplied me with a kit. I played it after the first show. It was undeniable. I couldn't give it back. It's like, it was just so beautiful. The toms are like, they're like, I don't know, supersonic toms. The tone is just warm and crisp, and there's no overtones, no undertones. You don't have to bugger around with what's that rattle, what's that? It's just beautiful out of the box. They're just lovely. So I got to say, it was undeniable. So I just had to write a rather sheepish letter to DW and say thank you very much for your support, but I'm going to start playing another kit, and that was that. So that's me, and Cambridge Drums, they are just beautiful. I've got to say, I'm not paid to do this either. I play them because I want to play them. I don't. In fact, I even just bought a kit because we were doing Saga cruises. Julian and myself as a duo. We go out as a duo sometimes, you know, piano and drums. It's how it all started, the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra. It started as a duo, you know, piano and drums. You know, the leftover dregs from Squeeze, really, going out trying to earn a living. And we were doing some shows on cruise ships, just Jools and myself, going out there with Ruby singing, you know, and another couple of girls from the orchestra, doing our party piece, you know, on a boat. It was lovely. Fly out there, do a couple of nights and fly back. It was lovely. Anyway, that's all stopped because of this chaos. And of course, Cambridge Drums offered to supply me a kit to leave on the cruise ship because we were scheduled to do quite a few of them. But I could not, in all honesty, just keep taking kits off them because it's a small company. They're hand-built drums, you know. I don't know how they do it for the price. They hand-build all these drums, you know. And so I said, all right, but I'll buy it. So the last kit I got off Cambridge Drums, I actually put my hand in my pocket and bought because, you know, it's fair dues, mate, you know.
Yeah.
You got to help row the boat. You can't just be cargo, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's it. I'm sorry. I do talk a bit, don't I? Sorry.
It's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. And I think you've raised a very good point there, actually, talking about that's what it's all about. I think these days, everyone's quite quick to just go online and order stuff from these big retailers and whatever, but they're not supporting like the local drum shops. And, you know, obviously we've lost a lot of them over the years, and it's such a shame. You know, when I was younger, I used to travel all the way down from Maidstone to Poole in Dorset to go to Poole Percussion to just look at their stuff because it was such a cool shop.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Those shops. So yeah, it's very important to support our local.
It is. I've got to say, Ian from Cambridge Drums, he's having trouble with shops because it's not a big mainline company and they expect so many kits. So he's sort of selling direct really through his website, which is great. Good luck to him for that. But you're absolutely right. It is about supporting these things. When I was on the road, and I've been most of my life actually, you know, when we're in the town, wherever it is, Leeds or Manchester, one of the thrills was going into the local drum shop and just hanging out and saying hello and, you know, trying not to be, look at me, I'm on the telly, Ma, you know, none of that shit. Just going in there and looking at the gear and seeing what's going on and maybe buying a bit of percussion. Oh, I used to have a huge percussion collection, but I've got rid of that too. So, yeah, it was a real joy, but they're few and far between now. And, you know, speaking to a few people that I do know in the business that still have got music shops, it's got so bad now that what kids are doing or people are doing, they're going into the few music shops there are, trying out the gear, then going home and buying it on the internet to save money. Yeah. What's that all about? I mean, that's really stinky, you know.
Absolutely, because, you know, the internet shops aren't going to be there to fix your bass drum pedal when it falls to bits, or help you select the right cymbal and you can actually like hear it. So yeah, I'm all for supporting our local shops. Big time. What age did you start drumming, and what bands or artists initially inspired you?
Well, my mum and dad, Doris and Fred, God bless them, they bought me my first drum kit with me just badgering them when I was 13 years old. It was a Beverly, red pearl Beverly bass drum, snare drum with an Ajax, believe it or not, ride cymbal. That was my first drum kit. And my dad put polystyrene tiles all around my box bedroom in Bedford, Lee Grave High Street in Bedford. And I just started to play. First thing I ever learnt on the drums was the Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt by the Shadows, because that's really, oh bless him. And then Wipeout, I learnt Wipeout, and then just started to check out things, you know. Shocked when I first album I ever bought was Kings of Percussion, Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich and Louis Belson, and it had a picture of 3 drummers on the front. And I was pretty ignorant about music, about anything really. I didn't, you know, I'm still pretty stupid about most things anyway, but even then I was even more stupid. And so in this record shop, and I saw this album, with 3 drummers on the front. I thought, it's got to be good. So I had no idea who they were even, you know. I think I'd heard of Gene Krupa, but that was about it. So I took it home, I played it, and I couldn't believe what I heard. It just sounded like it was so outrageous. You can't do that. That's no, there's 10 drummers there. That's not right. Okay. Anyway, that's what started me off. And the first thing I did was, first style I learned to play or tried to play was big band drums. And that was using a drum teacher called Freddie Wells, who's passed away now. A few years ago, I did go down to his funeral, lovely old boy, who showed me how to sit, how to hold the sticks, double sticking and a bit of technique. But unfortunately, I've always been not particularly smart, and I thought, because I picked things up pretty quickly, at the age of sort of 15, I thought I knew it all then, you know, because I could sort of hold my own, but it was all very immature and not very good drumming at all. And that's when I turned professional. And so the musicians that influenced me, first of all, were those big band musicians. Buddy Rich, who I met before he passed away, Louis Belson, who I did actually do a drum solo with. I can't believe I'm saying that. Wow. He came on a radio show that I was doing with Julian. We did a regular radio show for the BBC Two, and he was one of the guests. And he came on. It was at Maida Vale, and he sat there and played my kit. Louis, you know, I've got to say, he was getting old. You know, he was. When you see footage of him in his prime, it is unbelievable what that man did on a drum kit. Just nuts, you know. So he wasn't really firing on all cylinders when I worked with him. But I did get to sit, you know, 2 stalls around my one kit, and we sort of played around together. Oh, just, you know, me and Louis. Here's me and Louis. So, yeah, that was a real joy. So, yeah, those are people that influenced me. In fact, if you got time, I'll tell you a story about Buddy Rich too. I was in New York. We were on a photo shoot with Squeeze. We were doing pretty well out in America, and we all around the East Coast, you know. And I was out there with Squeeze, and we were doing a photo shoot. We had a professional photographer taking photos of her, and we were walking all around sort of Central Park, top of Fifth Avenue, all around that part of New York. And I've got to say, I wasn't feeling very well because I was a drunk in those days. So I was really not on my best, you know, stinking hangover. Oh, God, this was about 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh, leave me alone. I don't drink anymore. I haven't for decades. But then I was a very naughty boy. And who should be walking down the road but Buddy Rich? I could not believe it. Buddy! So I stop him and hello, Buddy. I'm a big fan of yours. This is just wonderful. And this professional photographer's there with me. And so I managed to stop him and put my arm around him and shake his hand and breathe in all horrible sort of stuff all over him. And he was lovely. He was really polite and patient. And this photographer was taking loads of pictures of me with my arm around Buddy and me giving Buddy words of advice, you know, just lovely stuff. Anyway, that was it, and I couldn't believe my luck, you know. And so we go off on tour all around America, 3 months touring, you know. Oh, anyway, I can't wait to get back to New York and get these pictures that I can take home, me and Buddy. So I get back and I phone up this photographer and say, right, I'm back. Can I come over? I want to see the photos. And she said, I'm sorry, but the camera was broken. None of them came out.
No.
Oh!
No way.
Oh! Yes, true story. Absolutely true story. Can't believe it, can you? Professional photographer in New York, and a camera was broken.
Did you ever get to meet him again after that?
No, I never did. I saw him live. I did go and see him in London a couple of times, you know, in the heyday of Squeeze. But no, I never did. That was the one opportunity, really, you know.
Yeah.
There we go. So lovely.
At least you got to meet him though. That's pretty incredible.
I did get to meet him, and he was really charming as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a great story. Thanks. and actually, kind of going on from that, this is I think this is a really nasty question because I wouldn't be able to answer this. I don't think. But do you have an all-time favorite drummer? If you just had to pick one, which I know is very difficult, but if
Actually I do. Yeah. Omar Hakim.
oh right, yeah. Oh okay.
Okay, he was the drummer. Now there's a reason for this. Let me explain what the reason is. As I just alluded to a moment ago, I'm an ex-drunk. I haven't drunk for years and years and years, I mean, 30, 40 years. I've stopped counting. But many years ago, I'd sort of given up playing the drums because I didn't think I could actually play the drums and stay sober, because I thought the music business said, oh no, I can't do this. So I retired. I thought, I had enough, I'm going to stop. So I stopped playing the drums completely. Had nothing to do with them, and I've been working in a brickyard because I was penniless, working in a brickyard in Bedford, stacking bricks, and my hands were completely buggered, and I just about stopped drinking by then. The first time I had a couple of goes, but that's the first time. And I had no drum kit, I had nothing. I was completely washed up, and so my mother, God bless her, bought me a drum kit out of my dad's insurance money because he'd passed away a few months earlier, and she had a bit of insurance money, not a lot, they weren't rich people. And she saw that I was sort of wasting my life, so she said. So she actually bought me a drum kit. And I remember setting up this drum kit in the front room of a bungalow in Bedford. And I needed to try and start to play again. And I was really, couldn't play. My hands were stiff, my body was stiff, my brain was buggered. So I got an album called High Life by Stevie Winwood, and the drummer on it was Omar Hakim. And what I did was I learned everything that Omar played on that album. Absolutely everything. Every drum fill, every feel, every break, everything. I learned the whole thing. And by the time I'd done that, I could play the drums again. Mm. So that's why Omar is my favorite drummer. It's not because he's a great, although he is a fantastic drummer. It's because he sort of put me back on the road to playing the drums.
Yeah, well, that's great. There's such a nice reason for it as well. And that's interesting what you say about the drum kit being bought for you, and how kind of I think like our parents kind of can really influence the way we go in life. Because I mean, for me, I wasn't going to do music at school. It wasn't one of my options, and we ticked all the boxes, and I returned the form, and then when it came back, it was like, oh, you've selected music, and I was like, huh? And it turns out that my mum had ticked the music box because she was very into music, and she wanted me to try and pursue it. And if it wasn't for that, I mean, that completely changed the direction of my life now. So, and then my granddad bought me my first drum kit. So it's just really, yeah.
It's very similar. It is very similar, yeah.
It is nice.
And God bless her, I mean, she'd seen me really struggle in the business. I'd had quite a bit of success by then. Headline Madison Square Garden. I mean, I've done, traveled the world, Top of the Pops, God knows how many times, just hit records. I hadn't made any money. It's easy enough to rip off a sober person in the music business, let alone a drunk like me. I ended up with nothing, which is why I was living with my mum, God bless her, in Bedford, working in a brickyard. But, so I'd had all this stuff, and she'd seen the downfall. She'd seen what I had done to myself. And she could also see that I was blaming the music business, whereas it wasn't the music business. I was the problem. It was me. It was me doing this to me. It wasn't outside stuff. It was me. And she saw that. God bless her, you know, she saw that. And so she wouldn't let me give up, you know. And so, and isn't that wonderful? Because Squeeze got back together. We had another big run of hit records, and then that stopped. And then Julian, the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra started some 25, longer than that, years ago. And that started out of nothing, just two of us. And now that's a huge, great thing, traveling the world, you know. So it's a funny old business.
It is. And actually, this is a relevant time to say this. And while we're talking about all this stuff, it's just an opportunity for me to tell you. After school, I then went to college and studied music. And again, that was my mum's influence. I was going to go back to sixth form, but 2 days before, it was like, no, let's do college instead and study music. So I did that. And again, really glad I did it. And this was just before my mum died when I was 17, unfortunately. But I remember at that time, one of the songs that we learnt was Up the Junction. And it's always... sort of stuck with me, that song. And it's just really nice to be able to kind of come round to this point where I've been running DrumWise for all this time and, you know, get to talk to you about it. So
Glaggadum, glaggadum, glag. That intro was quite funny. The band said, "Oh, you bring this in, Gilson." So I went glaggadum, glag, and nothing happened. And they said, "Oh, well, that's too short. You better do it twice, because otherwise we don't know when to start," because I couldn't pick up the rhythm of one. So that's all it was. So I did it twice and it started, you know. So.
Wow. And I would never have known that unless you said that then. See?
There you go.
Yeah. Awesome. So you've played with so many artists and you've done so many great things. Do you have an all-time like highlight of your career so far?
Oh yes, of course I do. Well, there are several moments that are sort of etched in my mind because they are just remarkable from this sort of ex-drunk in Bedford to be doing it, you know, playing drums for Cher or Barry White or B.B. King or Eric Clapton or, you know, all this stuff. It's all wonderful. But I suppose the highlight, if there is, I can pick one, is being the drummer at the Millennium Dome for the Millennium thing, you know, which that show went out worldwide to, you know, billions. And it was just a succession of artists all night long that I had to play the drums for, you know, from opera singers to singers to, oh God, yeah, it was just so many, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. So I suppose that was the highlight because it was such a big occasion. It was just huge, but there's been many other things. In fact, can I tell you quite a funny story about the Millennium gig? Two things happened that night that were quite funny. One of them was that the drummer from the Corrs, I can't remember her name, really gorgeous woman, a beautiful girl, was stuck out in Australia and couldn't get back for the show. So although I was playing drums with Jools and the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra, and we were playing for all these various people, I was also required to sit in and play drums with the Corrs that night, you know, which is lovely, you know. What a treat that was too, you know, playing a couple of their big hits. So off we go, we're playing the thing. We did the thing with the Corrs, and I came off and I'm standing by the side of the stage, pleased I got away with it again. I didn't get found out. And I'm standing there, and one of the band comes up to me and says, "Yeah, I was watching that on telly, and I've got to say that Corrs drummer, she ain't wearing well, is she?" And I just realised what had probably happened. You know, all these thousands of people or millions of people watching the show, the Corrs come on, and the camera pans round to the Corrs, this gorgeous woman who plays the drums for the Corrs, and I get this old fat bastard sitting there playing the drum. My God, she's not wearing well. Anyway, that night, coming up to midnight, there was this. We had this big conductor. Somebody or other, can't remember his name. He was on a rostrum, you know, there, and we're all there, and there's this huge orchestra, 1,000-piece orchestra over there, and 1,000-piece choir over there, all, you know, just huge thing, you know. And there's little me in the middle, you know, playing the drums for all this. I can't remember what drummer said this. That is a famous quote about playing with these orchestras, and that's what it felt like. It felt like trying to tow the sort of Queen Mary through a sea of Mars bars, you know. It was just good. It was just, come on, this way, you know, just, oh, God almighty. It was a nightmare. But anyway, he was getting here 12 o'clock and midnight. And this chap, he tapped his thing and he leant down because he was just up there and I was down here looking up at him. And he said, "Here, I haven't got a watch. Could you tell me if it's 12 o'clock yet?" I said, "What? There's the Queen out there and there's thousands of people." Oh, Jesus. So anyway, I look at my little Casio watch and I can't see it really. I've just a little luminous thing going on. And so I thought, oh, it's got to be close. So I said, "Yeah, it's about now." And he goes, tap, 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 tap. And we start the national anthem. I cannot believe it. It's just the whole Western world started the new millennium by my Casio watch. Can you believe? Just nuts. And just the BBC. You cannot believe nobody thought to give them a clock.
And was it the right time?
I don't know. I think we're all still running about half a minute fast. But, you know, who knows?
Wow. That's amazing. What a story.
Anyway. Yeah, highlights. There we go. There's a couple. There's others. There's Barry White. Barry White. Here's a funny old story. I was playing drums with Barry White at I was resident drummer on a TV show called Don't Forget Your Toothbrush. Mm. And it was all huge artists every week, you know, come on there, you know, Cher or Lemmy or, you know, Neil Sedaka, you know, endless stars that come on every week. But and there was about 4 series of this, but the very last one of the last series, they had Barry White. And Barry White come along to, you know, big bass, you know, it was quite a thing. And, anyway, the idea was that at the end of the last show, they were going to send the whole audience off on holiday. That was the big reveal at the end of these 4 series. And so we did the number with Barry White in the show, or a couple of numbers. And then in the last ad break, everybody went out into the car park at the back. And there were 4 coaches all lined up where all the audience were getting on the coaches and they were all going off on holiday. And we were all set up with a duplicate gear in the bike sheds in Teddington Lock. And at the end of every show, it was one of the things that they used to do was we play Bring Me Sunshine. And he'd sing Bring Me Sunshine with the guest artist, whoever it was, you know, and that'd be the thing, you know, him doing it. Oh, so we start playing Bring Me Sunshine, and they're all going off and it's pissing down with rain. I mean, it's chucking it down, and they're all getting soaked, and they're all getting on these things. And we start playing this thing, and then Barry White comes out in his big sort of coat and his hat, and he comes and stands right next to me, and we Bring Me Sunshine. And Chris Evans is doing his, you know, his song, and Barry White looks down at me and he goes, "What is this shit?" I said, "Well, this is prime time telly, Baz." He said, "Fuck this," and he just walked off. He just walked off. Far too cool to do anything like that. So that was me and Baz.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Do you want to? I'll give you one more story. You can edit all these out. I'll give you one more story.
This is
anyway, so I'm sitting here. I paint. I'm an artist, you know. So I paint portraits of people. Doing very well, actually. I'm selling quite a few. And, I'm down in my art studio here, painting, and the phone goes, and it's Julie and Jools saying, can you come down to Maidstone? I want you to play the drums. We've got a guest artist coming on, and we didn't know we'd get him till today, but he's coming on. I says, okay, yeah, of course I will. Yeah, who is it? He said, it's Smokey Robinson. Oh, okay, yeah, of course. He said, yeah, okay. He said, bring your best suit because we've got Eric Clapton on guitar. For Christ's sake. Okay, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be straight there. So when I go, put on a clean pair of knickers and I jump in my car, drive down to Maidstone, and I get there, and sure enough, there's Eric. I know Eric quite well, worked with him quite a few times. There's Eric, there's myself, there's Jools, and there's Dave from the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra on bass. And that's it, really. Oh no, the keyboard player. There's Smokey's MD there on a keyboard, and we're there, and we didn't get there didn't get sorted till about 5 o'clock because it's all a bit last minute. But we're gonna have a quick run through with Smokey. It'll be great. He's a professional. Don't worry about it. And then we're on. Oh, okay. He's just gonna do one number. Fine, great, lovely. All right, that's all good. So we're waiting. And then we get a message saying, Smokey's a bit tired, he's just flown in, he's having to lie down. Oh, okay, all right. No, he'll be here in a couple of hours. Oh, okay, that's a bit tight, but all right. So a couple of hours later, and Eric is getting a bit grumpy. He can be a bit grumpy at times, and he's sitting there noodling away. And, bloody hell is he? This is all a bit unprofessional, isn't it? Doing that stuff, I said, oh, don't worry, Eric. He'll be all right. He'll be here. Anyway, the show starts, and still no Smokey. The show, oh Christ Almighty! So the show's going on now, and Eric's sitting there, and he's scratching his head, getting more and more grumpy, and his MD is just noodling away on the piano like this. I mean, we know this song we're going to do. I can't remember what it is now. It's one of his huge hits, So we sort of know what the song is. I mean, it's not a problem with that. It's just we don't know anything about anything really, Anyway, the band before Smokey's on is playing, and that's when Smokey turns up. About 1 minute before he's due on, and Jools looks around at me and says, "He's here, he's here." I go, "Oh, good. Eric is here. Oh, that's good." Band finishes. And Julian says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Smokey Robinson." And Smokey walks out of the wings or out through the tabs. And I've never seen anybody look more like a pop star in my life. His skin is smooth and glistening. His hair has got sparkles in it. His teeth are like ding, beautiful bright eyes and this immaculate suit. And he just sort of glides like this across. And he glides up to the microphone. And he sort of looks at Julian and nods gracefully. And then he looks at Eric and nods gracefully. And then the MD starts playing. And we do this song. And it's just magnificent. It's just, it's like floating on air. And then we finish the song. And he looks at Eric and nods. And then he looks at Julian and nods. And then he just walks out. He didn't even look at me once. He just walked. Bye-bye, Smokey. That was it. That was Smokey Robinson. Was it? Yeah, it really was. It wasn't a mirage. That was Smokey. Unbelievable. It's still on YouTube. Stick it on YouTube and have a look. It's incredible. This vision. Smokey Robinson on Later with Jools. Oh, Christ. Anyway, remarkable. So that was a highlight.
Awesome. Yeah, they're pretty good highlights. Obviously, I run a drum school and we have a lot of students, and they always wonder how people learn material. So when you first get a gig with a new artist, how do you learn the songs? Do you just listen, or do you transcribe them, or are you given the drum music? But I mean, I suppose for you, this is even more of a big question, because you'll do a later show or something and you'll play with lots of different artists, won't you? So how's that kind of work?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I don't read music. I never have. I'm dyslexic. It's a not a very good excuse, because maybe if I'd have applied myself more, I might have had some idea, but I sort of gave up before I started. So I don't read music. I wouldn't suggest that's a great path forward in the music business, but I've managed to get away with it. So I have to remember everything. That's how I do it. And of course, you know, you get good at what you practice. So because I've spent my whole life playing drums that's what I seem to have done my whole life. You know, even before Squeeze, I was a drummer at the Talk of the South, and then drummer supporting loads of people. You know, I used to play drums for all sorts of comedians and endless, you know, endless. Hundreds of people. Even before I was in Squeeze, I was a drummer with Chuck Berry and Jerry Lewis and Dolly Parton, and you know, just. But what I've always done is sort of try to remember it. And in the main, I can do that. I can do it. It can get a bit stressy when there's a lot of things to remember. For instance, like I said at the Millennium Dome, where that was an awful lot of material, you know, to remember. Very minimum rehearsal time as well, the usual BBC stuff, cut to the bone. So it can get stressy. But everything casts a shadow and the sun shines on everything. So because I learned things, try to learn them, to play them, I think it does help, because I try to get inside the music rather than learning it note for note. I try and learn what the music is trying to say. So I might not get it absolutely note for note perfect. What I try to do is to get the atmosphere and the feel of what was on the record or what that performer wants. I try and nail that. And if that is the way it should be, then the rest sort of falls into place. So, and it can be tricky. I mean, especially for things like the Hootenanny, where we have maybe, 18 new tracks to learn for a 2-hour special that's on New Year's Eve. We're touring usually at the time when that's going on. So what I do is I get in Days of Yore, because I've been doing that show about 25 years now. That's an awfully long time, an awfully lot of songs. It used to get a cassette, and then it was CDs, and now it's MP3s emailed. But what you do is you get you get a list of the artists that are on, then you get a list of the songs, and then you get songs, and then you try and learn them while you're driving between gigs. And because we're on the road, I can't go down my barn here and play the drums. I have to learn them while I'm driving my car to the next venue, which is all part of the excitement. And I don't know if you want to know about the problems, but it might help some of your students to understand what's involved. You see, sometimes an artist will come on and they'll have some history. So they'll have a hit record that they're famous for, or many hit records that they're famous for, and they'll have a new song that they're trying to flog or promote. And so usually we are quite familiar with the hits, but of course the new song could be anything, So what I tend to do with the new song is I will jot out a skeleton thing, like it will be verse, chorus, intro, verse, chorus, repeat chorus, solo, just that. So that I've got a breakdown of what it's going to be. And then I'll try and add anything that I'll write in anything, drum break, stop here, do whatever. And then when we do finally run it, either at Julie's studio or at the BBC, I've got a crib sheet that I can remind myself of, and then I learn it as we're playing it. That's how we do the new stuff. The old stuff can get trickier, because what can happen is that the BBC will send us a part of, I don't know, I'll just pick any old star, Cyndi Lauper, great idea. So Cyndi Lauper, we'll get a track when Cyndi did the show. She was great as well. Girls just want to have fun. Oh, I know that. I don't worry about that. That's fine. So I'll just listen to it a couple of times. Yeah, I know how that goes. And then we get into the studio and Cindy comes along and says, well, actually, I don't do it like that anymore. I've been doing it live for the past 20 years. What we do is we do it this speed with that ending and this start, and then we do a breakdown, and then we have this in the middle, and then I do a handstand, and then I want something on the, oh, fuck it. Well, that's when it can get complicated. Mm-hmm. That's when it starts to, oh, really? You know. And then, of course, that's one artist, and then you've got another 7 coming out doing exactly the same sort of thing. So it can get a bit stressy. But having said that, there are real bonuses too, because firstly, it keeps you on your toes. Secondly, nobody wants you to fail. That's the artist, that's the BBC, that's the audience, that's the rest of the band. Everybody wants this to work. So nobody is trying to trick you or get in your way or cause problems. Everybody wants to help. So it's all right. And it's all right to make a mistake. That's the other thing. A lot of the time, one of the reasons why musicians struggle when they're playing in new stuff, unfamiliar stuff, in big venues, in big audiences, in new bands, in situations they're not used to, any of that, and many more that I haven't mentioned. One of their biggest problems is their thinking. It gets in the way of their playing. They start to worry about what that bass player thinks of me, what the audience thinks of me, what does the singer think of me? Was the last drummer who sat in this stall better than me? Oh, just all that fucking garbage that's going on in your head is getting in the way of you playing to your best ability. So mental aptitude, mental discipline is one of the biggest growing, potentially one of the best, I'm trying to think of a way of phrasing this, one of the most advantageous things to develop is a healthy attitude to playing. First thing I had to understand is that I'm not the best drummer in the world. I'm not. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to be the fastest. I'll never be the most technical. I'll certainly never be the best looking. I'll never be the one with the most sex appeal. I'll never have the best drum solos. Never. But what I can be is the best me. I can actually be the best Gilson I can possibly be. And the way I can do that is to prepare, be well prepared for the job. Do not be a pain in the arse. Leave your ego at home. Don't try and be the star of the show, seeing if you can help. Why don't you see what you can do to help other people have a good show? Do that, you know. Be a team player, and don't use your ego to play the drums. That's the worst thing you can do. Look, I've just learned this fantastic fill, and I'm determined to get it in this song. You watch me. I bet I'll get it in this next one. In fact, I might even get it in twice. Oh, please stop. Please stop. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. There we go.
On that note, it's something to talk about here. It's all very much, I think, about how you play and groove and playing for the song. Whereas I think a lot of youngsters these days, and just the way it's going these days, it's all about, look at me, I can juggle my drumsticks while they're on fire, while play, you know. Yeah. And people forget about the groove, you know, playing from in here.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. One of the problems with us talking like this is that the people that do the setting themselves on fire and putting explosives in their bass drums, and I'm using that as a generalisation, they look at people like me and think I'm only saying that because I can't do that. I'm only saying the groove's the thing because I can't do, you know, all this crazy hand independence, you know, stuff going on that, you know. Thing is, I've got no desire to do it. That's one of the reasons why I can't do it. I can't be asked, really. But it's not true. It's not true. You see, music, well, it used to be. I hope it will be that again, and it maybe is. Music is the build-up and the release of tension. That's what it is. It's the build-up of tension and then the release. We build things up through the verse, we build things up, and then in the chorus, we let it go. Or it could be a solo that starts gently and lovingly and then builds and builds and builds to a crescendo where we go, that's it. And then we're out into the chorus, so it's this build up and release of tension. It's about emotion. And it's all well and good, you know, drummers, and God bless them. I mean, I'm not decrying what they do at all, you know, because it is, not only can't I do it, I don't want to do it, but you know, the amount of effort and dedication I put into being able to play like that is remarkable. But what that does in me, it makes me feel something. It makes me feel awe that, my God, look at that. But then that only lasts about sort of 30 seconds. Then after that, it gets a bit, well, where's the release of tension here? You know, where's the emotion? Where's the build up and the release? Where's the soul? It's not touching my heart. It's touching my head because I'm in awe of this, but it's not touching my heart.
Yeah.
And that's what's sort of missing, really. But you know, you can't see until you can see, and it didn't used to be this. But there is a way now of earning a living in the music. You know, God bless anybody who can earn a living in the music business, because it's pretty hard. You know, and there is now a circuit for these remarkable drummers that play like this. There is a circuit. You know, this drum clinic, super highway of drummer wonders that go around the globe. You know, Sabian will put on a show, and then Zildjian will put on a show, and then DW will put on a show, and they roll out all these incredible drummers, and they'll pay them $5,000 a night, and they just, wow, that's fucking great. So they're earning a living, God bless them. You know, but what's the last band you played in, mate? Oh, well, I don't actually play in bands. Oh,
Absolutely. I always say to students when they come in and say, "Oh, I want to learn how to do this. You know, I want to learn to twirl my stick," and I say, "I can hear you twirling your stick. You know, no one's going to go, 'I love that. Can you come and record my album?' Like, you know, who cares if you can twirl your drumstick or not?"
That's right. Yeah.
How you sound.
Well, actually, speaking of somebody who does twirl his drumsticks, but I actually don't even know I'm doing it anymore. It's just part of my movement. I never even consciously do it. But if you can combine show with playing, that's great. That's a great mix. But it should never compromise the music, ever. It should never compromise the music.
That's what I mean. I think that people, you know, twirling a drumstick these days, I think they think that's more important than actually, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you ever had anything go wrong on stage? You know, quite like something pretty bad that you've had to recover from that you can tell us about.
God almighty, so many. I've had stalls collapse. I've had monitors fall on my head. I've had. Actually, I will tell you a story. Shall I tell you? Yeah, I'll tell you this one. I was playing at a show at the Royal Albert Hall, and that loads of different artists, all sorts of different artists. And one of the artists was a boy band. I can't remember which one, a big name one, like Five or one of those. I can't remember. Anyway, no rehearsals. You know, rehearsals are for sissies. So just before we're going on, they turn up and they look, you know, as boy bands do. They look like they're, you know, standing backstage. They all look like they're in a wind tunnel, you know. And anyway, their MD comes up to me and says, "I've got a click for you to play to." Oh, of course, you know, I work with clicks. I work with anybody. He said, "Okay, here's your headphones. It'll be a 4 count." Oh, okay, all right, 4 count. Yeah, great, I've got that. I'll be ready. So I'm up there, first artist, second artist, third artist, fourth artist, the fifth artist, and then it's the time for the for this singing group of young men, and they come up. And I put my headphones on, and I'm all there ready, and I hear click, click, click. Oh, fucking hell, that's a bit sharp. So I hear click, click, but I'm really quick, so I go, I've got this. Click, click. I shout 3, 4, and I'm in. 3, 4, like that, and the whole band's pretty sharp. So we're in, and we start. What the MD didn't quite tell me is the click is in double time.
Oh.
So I heard 1, 2. What I actually heard was 1, 2, 3. I heard 1, 2, 3. So now I count the whole band now is a bar in front of the recorded backing vocals and the recorded oohs and ahs and synths and all the rest of it that's going on. Oh, for fuck's sake! So this MD, a very handsome black chap, goes white like this and scampers around my drum kit and goes up the computer and turns it off. So now this boy band is doing it all live. They're doing the whole thing live, and they're, oh God Almighty, it was appalling. And after, and when we come on, I'm standing there, and these lads who still look like they're standing in a wind tunnel, they're looking across at me, and I go, "You fucking." I didn't know, mate. Don't shout at me. Anyway, will that do?
Yes, that will do. That's an amazing one. That's brilliant. You've got so many good. This is one of the best ones I've done. It's brilliant. It's great. You've got so many good.
Oh, we're just scratching the surface, mate. I've been doing this over 50 years. I've got stories and stories and stories.
What are your hobbies, or what are the things that you do away from drums?
I paint. That's what I do. I'm an artist. I paint, and it's been going very well. I paint only in black and white and acrylics, and I paint artists and people that I've worked with or have inspired me. I wonder if I can send you a painting so you can see what I do. Oh, I can. Hang on. I'll show you what I do.
You know what you should do? You should do a painting of you meeting Buddy. Based on the photo that never appeared.
Where's Buddy Rich? Let's send Buddy Rich. I've got a Buddy Rich painting here. There we go. It's coming your way. Yeah, and anybody's interested, they can go to my website, which is gilsonlavisart.uk, and have a look. I've got loads of stuff on there. Most of it for sale. Some art. I've got quite a large collection of people I've painted, and then they've signed their painting because I've played with them again, over the years. All sorts of people, Paul Simon, and endless. So I've got a personal collection of paintings, but I've also got a lot of other ones that, and that takes up most of my time. I also work with addicts and alcoholics, trying to help them in various ways. I go to rehabs and various other things and try and help them get well, because I've got some experience in that area,
What's your favourite biscuit?
I try not to eat biscuits because I'm carrying a bit of weight now, and it's a constant battle. But I suppose at a push, it's going to be chocolate digestive.
Oh, would you dunk it? Is it a dunk?
Well, I would, but I can eat a packet without there being a cup of coffee in sight, really. So there's my waistline to testify. But no, I've been. My wife, who's a dance teacher, she's very incredibly fit, and she teaches tap and ballet, and she does fitness classes, and complete antipathy of me, really. She's put me on a diet. I haven't had a slice of bread now for months, driving me nuts, and it's made absolutely no difference. I still look like I could use a double D bra, but you got to do what you can do, really. So, but no biscuits in this house. But if there were, it would be chocolate digestives.
If you could give one bit of advice to incoming drummers, what would that be?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, now, absolutely serious advice this, because I know I'm speaking from bitter experience, absolutely bitter experience here. Whatever style of drumming, whatever road you want to go down as a musician, please enjoy it, enjoy doing it, because that's part of the gift of being a musician, is enjoying your job. But the most important thing, I believe, that we can do as musicians is look after our most important organ in our bodies, and that's our mind. This thing between our ears, it is so easily corrupted and upset. It can so easily go down emotional, spiritual cul-de-sacs that can destroy us, destroy our music, destroy our relationships, can destroy all sorts of things. It's really important to keep a healthy mind. How do you do that? Is by keeping an eye on what you're thinking and why you're thinking it. Try not to be resentful. Try not to be angry. Try not to be jealous. Try not to be judgmental. See if you can go to work or go sit behind your drum kit and help. Be of service. Be part of the band. Be part of the whole enterprise. Don't sit there at the back of the band thinking, I wish I was at the front. If you want to be at the front, go to the fucking front. Don't sit at the back wishing you were at the front. Waste of time, waste of energy. Look after your mind. And if you do that, your mind will look after you.
Gilson, thank you so much for spending your time with us here at DrumWise today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. It's been a joy talking to you, and good luck with your drumming, and good luck to all your students.